Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Right to the two in the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that. STL Music, mama, we did it. Where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Never rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
What is up on this Taco Tuesday edition of Sweep the League? Rudy Campos Jr. coming to you live from the Sweep the League studios here in not San Antonio, but Seguin, Texas. It's going to be me tonight, guys. Derek Garvin's off tonight. Coach Gio is off tonight. In fact, Coach Gio is gone just like Kurt Hennig. Mr. Perfect was back in the Survivor Series when he was supposed to be on Razor Ramon's team. If you old fellas remember that. No, he's not gone. He's just off tonight. Both guys are going to be back hopefully tomorrow. If not, they'll be later in the week. Tomorrow, guys, we have local comedian David Mullins is going to be joining us tomorrow for a segment. He's got a show coming up. I believe it's July 27th over at the Josephine Theater in San Antonio. I'm actually going to be there in the theater itself to watch him perform. Again, that's David Mullins tomorrow night here with us on Sweep the League. Also, we're going to be getting into some NFL talk here pretty soon. Training camp starting up. We're going to get the season. It's going to be here before you know it. We're going to be wall-to-wall coverage on NFL talk. So we've got some people, some analysts from around the league that are going to be joining us here on Sweep the League, kind of talk to you about their teams. We're talking Cowboys, Texans, Raiders, Saints. We've got Falcons, Titans. We've got a lot of people that are covering a lot of teams. So we'll have all those segments for you coming up here. We're going to just jam-pack the show with NFL talk as well as, some off-season NBA stuff and other stuff as well. But tonight, we're going to kind of make this a special night tonight. So I get DM'd a lot, and it's funny because I used to watch it a lot back in the day, but now I don't watch it as much as I used to. But we're going to get into some wrestling talk tonight. I've always wanted to sit down and chat with you guys, and with with Coach Gio and Derek being off tonight, I figured let's take a little break from the crazy world of Spurs basketball, NBA offseason, trying to predict who's going to be the best team in the West and the East. Let's take a night off from NFL talk and every other major sport, and let's talk a little bit about wrestling for you guys out there that want to chime in on the wrestling talk. Let's do it, man. I got to get caught up. I need all you guys to catch me up because I did catch this past WrestleMania. I catch shows here and there. I catch more pay-per-views than I do more than anything. So that's kind of where I stand on the wrestling talk tonight. So this will be the wrestling edition of Sweep the League here on Taco Tuesday, brought to you by La Cocina Taco Truck, MCS, General Contracting, and Special Leaf Tea. Also, shout out to Lockdown Spurs Zone Jeff Garcia as well. We're getting Jeff a commercial here pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. You know how we do it here at Sweep the League. Leha's in here. What is up, Leha? Let's get it, boys. We are gonna get it, man. It's gonna be some wrestling talk, Leha. I always see you on the Twitter, and you're talking about wrestling too with Sid. I know John Hernandez, who's Darth Odium, Lord of Abomination, loves wrestling. So tweet it out, share it on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight's a wrestling talk. You guys bring up anything you want wrestling. I'm gonna drop you the phone number right now here. All you gotta do is just give us a call. 830-499-1852. That's 830-499-1852. You want to drop a wrestling comment or you want to talk about something else? We can talk about something else. But again, like I said, let's make this about wrestling. Tim Gonzalez, Blue Devils, Tar Heel, Still Suck, of course, and Cooper Flag, we trust. That's the rumor out there. Today was Big 12 Media Day today. Yes, it was. JC, good evening, gents, from my dating daughter Overwatch duty. Yeah. Okay. Overwatch duty. Yeah. I mean, we all got to take care of our daughters, man. No doubt about that at all. AEW's in here. Rudy, I challenge you to a Texas death match. Okay. You've got to school me in some of this stuff here when it comes to matches. I know the Hell in a Cell, the Texas death match. I'm not quite sure. I know that there was a match I used to see back when we had VHS tapes. I went to a Blockbuster and I would rent a VH tape or something from old Japan wrestling where they would have like bombs in the ring or something. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Maybe we'll do something like that. The only thing WWE has is the Wyatt Six. Okay. AEW fan over here. And of course, we're going to get into some trash talk too, because I love this. Leia, Tim, calm down, man. The WWE owns it all. AEW is booty crumbs. So, all right, we're going to go with the AEW and WWE war tonight. So again, like I said, guys, it's going to be some wrestling talk tonight. I know everybody's been asking for wrestling talk. We're going to make this a wrestling show. Again, the number to call in, guys, it is 830-499-1852. If you want to give us a call here, give me a call, keep me company. You want to talk some wrestling, drop some comments. We're going to get into anything and everything wrestling tonight. You guys are going to school me. You guys are going to help me out here because I've definitely got to get schooled back into wrestling here. For our YouTube channel, you go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV, subscribe. So for everybody that's a subscriber, appreciate you. One thing to remember, we're giving away a copy of College Football 25. The day it comes out, we're going to pick a winner. We have a little twist on this, and we're going to post it on social media for everybody to see. We have a little twist here. Here's the twist. We're at 130 subscribers. Awesome. I mean, in less than a month, we've already gained 105 subscribers in less than a month. Thank you, everybody. But if we get to 200 subscribers by the time College Football 25 comes up, everybody that's a subscriber will get 2 chances, 2 entries into the College Football 25 giveaway. Likewise, if we get up to 300 by that time, everybody will get 3 opportunities. They will get 3 entries. That's only 1 copy, but you get 3 entries into the drawing. So think about it. The more subscribers we get, the more you guys help us grow, the more opportunities you're going to get. Not only that, we're giving away a copy of Madden 25 coming out here pretty soon. So, or 24, it's 24, 25, 1 or 2. The next Madden coming out, we're giving out that. I believe it's in August. And again, it's going to go for just about every game, every sports game coming out. We're going to give away a copy. But again, the bigger we grow on YouTube, the more we can actually give away. So appreciate everybody here. Definitely joining me here tonight for some wrestling talk. We give you all that number here, guys. It's going to be 830-499-1852. Again, shout out to all of our sponsors, MCS General Contracting. Shout out to Special Leaf Tea and La Cocina Taco Truck. It is Taco Tuesday, so we're going to get to all that. So the first segment tonight brought to you by MCS General Contracting. Again, maybe like in wrestling, it's similar because it's family. You're building something. You've got to build a ring. You know what? Wrestlers, you got to build the arenas and all wherever they go to. But no matter what, it all has to do with construction. And the only people that are worth calling in construction is MCS General Contracting. Remember, good family, a good home starts with a foundation. They're building a better San Antonio. That's MCS General Contracting. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. All right, let's get into some wrestling talk here. This segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. WWE is like the Cowboys. They think there's America. They think they're America's team. Okay, I mean, I get that. I see your comment, John. I'm not going to actually put that on air. We have to keep this a lot cleaner than normal here. Rudy, those videos you talked about are death matches. A Texas death match is a different animal. Kind of explain to me what a Texas death match is. I'm not too sure. Like I said, the death matches that I saw in Japan wrestling, I mean, obviously the bombs and all that stuff. I remember the sirens going off, and then when it was there was boom, everybody was blown to pieces. So I remember those matches. But yeah, John, your other comment, I really can't share that comment right now. So apologize for that. But nonetheless, man, wrestling wise. So I grew up in the era, obviously, of Hulk Hogan, you know, the real American hero. I mean, it goes far back as to I remember when WWE had that cartoon, I believe on Saturday mornings, you know, Hulk Hogan, the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, who was it? The guy with the overalls, not Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hillbilly Jim, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper. They had that cartoon. So I remember that's how far back that I would go to wrestling. Captain Lou Albano was a part of it. I remember WrestleMania, you know, you have the original with Hogan and Mr. T taking on Piper. You know, I started watching wrestling way back in the day. I was there during the whole Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks storyline. The Mega Powers collide, Hogan and Randy Savage, you know, Ultimate Warrior. I mean, those were all the guys that I used to watch primarily when I was watching all the time. We would always get all the pay-per-views, ordering them when you had to call. Back then it was Paragon Cable, and you had to call and order the pay-per-view ahead of time. So we were watching, you know, at the time it was SummerSlam, it was WrestleMania, it was Survivor Series, it was the Royal Rumble. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, those were the only four going at the time. You started off with the Rumble, then you had WrestleMania, then you had to wait till August because that's when SummerSlam came, and then it was Thanksgiving night is when you had Survivor Series. So there was only four pay-per-views way back then, and I mean, yeah, a lot's changed. You get one pay-per-view a month from WWE, and then plus you get the next night or even the night before it's NXT. So yeah, that's kind of the wrestling history I have. I mean, we're talking way back then, what Coco Beware, The Natural, Butch Reed, Power and Glory. I don't know if you guys remember Power and Glory. I wasn't Paul or Roma and Hercules, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, obviously Mr. Perfect, the Rockers with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty when they started out. My favorite tag team of all time was Demolition. I love Demolition. Axe and Smash. You had Mr. Fuji. I mean, yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm coming up when it came to wrestling from way back in the day. Chris Gonzalez, AEW is the '90s KC Royale. I mean, I got to get into AEW talk. I kind of like the new stuff, but I don't like AEW. I mean, is there a way to maybe for those of y'all that love AEW, what's the convincing factor for AEW? Because I can't seem to get into it. I kind of see where it's going, but I don't really get into it very much. So it's hard for me to get into AEW right now. New Japan Wrestling is amazing. I love New Japan Wrestling. I do love New Japan Wrestling. For those of y'all that know, with Sith, I talked to him. I kind of messaged him over the weekend. Him and Brandon Medina, they hold spaces after pay-per-views and Monday Night Raw and then Friday Night SmackDown. They hold some spaces after that. But I'm always I was always a AAA guy, Lucha Libre, you know, from Mil Máscaras, and I mean a lot of those guys. I didn't know who they were back then. I mean, then you talk about, you know, the legends like La Parca. I mean, I was big into him. I mean, the chairman of the board is what they called him in WCW. So I used to watch that with my grandmother way back in the day when I would stay with her. So yeah, that was, to me, Lucha Libre was right there with WWF back in the day. It's WWE now, but it was WWF back in the day. So that's where it was for me. It was always back and forth. Later on in the show, I want to get into my absolute favorite wrestling, which for maybe a couple of you guys know, but I'll let y'all know what that is later on. But my absolute favorite wrestling show only lasted a couple of years, but we're going to get into that. Definitely here. So yeah, New Japan Wrestling is in here. Dusty Rhodes. I mean, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, man. I mean, he had Sweet Sapphire as his manager for a while there. I grew up on WCCW, the Von Erichs Freebirds, the Missing Link, Bruiser Brody. Yeah. So again, the Von Erichs, the fabulous Freebirds. We're talking, man, back in WCW. Obviously Sting and Flair and Lex Luger from way back in the day. My favorite guy from way back from old school WCW was the Great Muta. I loved watching the Great Muta. He had that one match at Halloween Havoc where they had put those little, not bombs, but those little like electrical whatever there was, and you would climb. And I remember he's got it zapped one, and all that. So I mean, Halloween Havoc was actually cool way back when, but I don't think anything could ever beat Starrcade. And not Starrcade was great, but I'm talking about the Fall Brawl. I used to love watching Fall Brawl a lot. But getting back to the WCW from way back then, yeah, I mean, you're talking Great Muta. Obviously, the bigger name, the Steiners. Rick Steiner was solo until Scott Steiner came up. So you're talking about the Steiner brothers. Jim Cornette was, massive in WCW way back then. I mean, again, I loved it from the past, and then I kind of started to stray away from it. I was in it in the Attitude Era for WWE with WCW, having the run with the NWO as well. Even before that, a little bit, I was still kind of watching it. We're gonna get into that in the next segment because I want to get your guys' opinions on the turning points of wrestling. That's what I wanted to get into as well. Also, in that last segment, we're going to talk about my absolute favorite wrestling promotion. So we're definitely going to get into all that here tonight. Got a lot of comments, man. Tons of comments coming in. I appreciate everybody joining tonight. It is Wrestling Talk. So definitely want to give us a call, 830-499-1852, 830-499-1852. Shout out to Brandon Medina and Sith Elias. They do spaces after wrestling, so be sure to catch it. It's very, very good, very, very, very good stuff out there. So be sure to catch it. Let's get to some of the comments. Chris Gonzalez in here. Wrestling is 6 days a week now. It's what it seems. It seems like you can't go a day without catching anything on wrestling. And if you're bored on wrestling, WWE has released the vault. Basically, you can go back and watch everything. I've done that a couple of times actually. So it brings me back to my childhood days, but. You remember Hulk picked up the Giant at WrestleMania Detroit Superdome? Yeah, actually Detroit was the largest crowd for wrestling event up until recently. I think where the Cowboys play? Was it there? I don't know. Somebody recently, I might have been that one where they finally broke the record. But yeah, I do remember Hogan picking up the Giant, the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Jacques Rougeau, and no, you got to help me out here. I remember the Rougeau brothers, man. They were in a feud back in the day, and I'm going to drop this tag team. So a lot of you guys may know them, but they were in a feud. I remember with the Killer Bees, which was Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, and I can't remember the other guy, but I remember the Killer Bees. I mean, hell, back then you even had Strikeforce, which was Tito Santana and Rick Martel. You had, who else was back then, man? I know I mentioned Power and Glory. The Head Shrinkers, were they back then as well? I think they were back then as well. There was another one. I just had the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. I mean, there was a lot. Nacho Libre, Louis, shout out to Louis, man. Today's Taco Tuesday, so you got to remember tacos. When you think of Taco Tuesday, it's always about La Cocina Taco Truck in New Braunfels, man. The absolute best quesadillas and street tacos. You know what, San Antonio? Don't feel bad. I know New Braunfels is a hop, skip, and a jump away Thursday through Sunday, 8 p.m. till the last person leaves. Louis is going to take care of you out there at La Cocina Taco Truck, proud sponsors of Sweep the League. AEW has an indie vibe. WWE is a big business. I actually like WWE a little bit, but I love the AEW punk rock feel because I am a punk. Fair point. Rudy, AEW is like watching WCW bringing my old days. Again, I can't really get too much into AEW. You got to kind of convince me here a little bit because I'm trying really hard to watch it and I just can't seem to get into it. I've got a very rare card of Iron Sheik and Nikolai card with the belts. Geopolitics in the ring doesn't get better. I mean, I've seen it. I think I have seen it with the post. Sith is in the room. Sith, shout out to Sith, man. Appreciate you joining in here. He's one of the guys that runs spaces on Twitter or X or whatever they want to call it today. They run them after Monday Night Raw. It's him and Brandon Medina. They run it after Monday Night Raw. They run it after Friday Night SmackDown, and then after a lot of pay-per-views. I'm in there. I really haven't talked in there, but I enjoy listening to them. I'm usually working at the time too. So shout out to him. ECW, another brand we got to get into is ECW here. You got the eyes. AEW brings the dream matches that I thought I would never see. Could it be because of a ratings push too? I mean, they've got to get the ratings up. So they're going to put some of these big time matches out there. AEW is trash. It seems to me like everybody doesn't like AEW, which again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yes, War Games. War Games was always my favorite. Fall Brawl, man. I loved watching War Games. I'm all about the modern day wrestling. No AEW. Okay, I thought AEW would be modern day. I mean, it's just something that just came up. So, I mean, I figured it would be. Yeah, AEW is modern day wrestling. Wrestling changed on July 7th, 1996. Chris, is that Bash at the Beach? Was that the day that wrestling changed when Hulk Hogan turned his back on all his Hulkamaniacs and he decided to join up with the Outsiders? I believe that is the day. AEW had partners with CMLL and New Japan and started with that. AEW bring excitement. Okay. Again, I'm trying to get convinced. Went through a wrestling card streak starting with 1985. Still have them. Anyone wants to talk collections? Show them off on Twitter. I definitely would love to be tagged in it. Let's talk Money in the Bank and Raw. Again, y'all guys want to talk about whatever, we can gladly talk about whatever you guys want to drop in here. Again, if you want to call in, it's 830-499-1852. We're going to take a commercial break here in a little bit. So if you're calling right now, give me a few minutes. Wait till we get back on the stream so we can answer your call. But it is 830-499-1852. We'll take phone calls here when we get back from the break. Let me get to a couple more comments before hitting the break. JC Terry L ? Not sure. What up, brothers? Would Abdul the Butcher be allowed in today's wrestling? Good question, Mario. Hey, Mario, would New Jack be allowed in today's wrestling? I mean, New Jack is one of the craziest MFers I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. So I think that's a fair question about Abdul the Butcher. AEW thinks they are the Cowboys, saying they go all in, but really have nothing to prove. Yeah, it mimics Jerry Jones. The Hart Foundation, I can't believe we forgot a classic. The Hart Foundation is another one. They has risk advertised they wouldn't fly today. Yeah, probably so. Dark Odium, Lord of Honesty, yes, they did. Leha, AEW is like a great friend of ours, says a 2-pack of. Yes, we do understand that part. Lodi is the wrestling god. Okay, I have no idea exactly who that is. Oh, or LOD? Wait a minute. No, Lodi. Okay, I don't really know. We are making you watch Blood and Guts in a couple of weeks. AEW Dynamite on TBS. Okay, so we got all the comments here. When we come back, we'll probably have a couple of phone calls here to talk some wrestling. But again, we are going to make this a Tuesday night, a Taco Tuesday night edition of Sweep the League. Is going to be all about some wrestling. I can already tell that this is going to be a very popular subject. So when we get back, we'll have some more wrestling talk. Again, we'll drop the phone number so you guys can call in. This is Rudy Campos for Sweep the League. Hey guys, are you ready for a flavor explosion? Look no further than La Cocina Taco Truck, serving up the best street tacos and quesadillas in New Braunfels. With a 5-star rating and rave reviews, they're not just a taco truck, they are a taste sensation. La Cocina staff is the best in town and pride themselves on making every customer feel like family. Whether you're feeding a crowd or just satisfying your own cravings, they've got you covered because no order is too big or too small for them there. Louis and his staff are all about customer satisfaction and they love their community. Don't worry, San Antonio friends, they're just a short trip away to New Braunfels. So why wait? Come visit La Cocina Taco Truck today and taste the difference for yourself. That's La Cocina Taco Truck, where every bite is a fiesta. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting, building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. What is up, guys? What is up? Hey, this is Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr. coming to you again. It's Taco Tuesday. Derek Gervin and Coach Gio are off tonight. Hopefully they'll be back either tomorrow or later on in the week. Tomorrow we have David Mullins here joining us tonight, local San Antonio comedian. He's got a show coming up at the Josephine Theater. It's going to be on July 27th, I believe. So let me knock that date down here. I will be out there. So if any of you guys want to go out there, I believe you can go to Eventbrite. Just look up Hanging Out with Dave. It's going to be at the Josephine Theater. Tickets are like $10. So again, you want to support a local guy. He's going to be with us tomorrow talking a little bit about his show, what to expect. Then maybe we can get some sports talk out of him. Just an FYI, he went to school with me. He was a high school guy with me at Central Catholic. So yeah, leave all the high school questions out of it. We don't want to get any of that whole high school stuff in there as well. So we'll get back to some of the comments here. We've got you to tune in AEW. Let's see. Let me get the comments here. Sorry, but Rudy, you got to tune in AEW every week. It comes a couple weeks of my attention. I've tuned into AEW. I've just never been able to get into AEW. That's just my thing. So that's kind of what I'm here. Ora La Cocina Taco Truck. Vamos, let's go. La Cocina Taco Truck. MCS Diamond Hard stuff. Yeah, that's ain't no lie. I didn't lie. Mario, I'm gonna get a patch and put on that hat with the diamond with the word hard in the middle. Pause. You know what? Like, I need to get some hats from you as well. I need to get some hats from you because I definitely need to do that. David Mons is the Al Bundy of San Antonio. I kind of agree with that, John. We're gonna have to bring that up to him tomorrow. See if he'll definitely do it. Ole, I'll buy one. Yeah, the hats are amazing by MCS General Contract. Seth, you got the number. Let me get the number for you right here. It's gonna be 830-499-1852. You guys want to call in, talk wrestling? It's going to be a wrestling night. It's funny, on the title I put NFL talk, NCAA talk, some NBA, and we'll try to get into wrestling. Well, it's been all wrestling all night, so we're going to keep it that way. Everybody's loving the wrestling talk. This is the wrestling edition of Sweep the League. We actually got a phone call right now. Let's see who it is. How you doing, man? Calling for Sweep the League. Let's talk some wrestling. What do you want to talk about?
What's good, Rudy?
Nothing much, man.
Let's talk Money in the Bank, brother.
Money in the Bank. What do you got for Money in the Bank, man?
Man, I don't know, dude. I feel like Drew McIntyre shouldn't have won, and they kind of wasted that part. That was probably the biggest downfall for me when it comes to Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I feel we had other competitors that would have benefited from getting that briefcase, but it is what it is, right? We got to keep the storylines going and whatnot.
It feels like McIntyre has that Buffalo Bills, karma right now where he's getting the win or getting to the finals, but it's just not working out for him. That's kind of the feel that I've had the last couple of pay-per-views, I think is what it is with him. I mean, he ends up winning the title from Seth, and then all of a sudden Priest comes out, cashes in, loses it. This time, he cashes in the Money in the Bank and gets screwed by CM Punk. So it just has that bad feel to it, that bad juju feel to it.
It kind of reminds me of that Geico commercial, where they're dangling the dollar bill over that dude. You gotta be quicker than that.
I remember that. I remember the old man with the dollar bill. I got you, man. I got you. I feel you on that. Money in the Bank overall. Is it fair to say I felt like I think it was a B- if we're grading it. I think the women's Money in the Bank stole the show. I did love the women's Money in the Bank. Come to find out, did you see about Bubba Ray Dudley talking about the Damian Priest and the mishap they had with the ref, saying that he might have been knocked out. He might have had a little bit of a concussion going on as to reason why he didn't kick out there. I don't know if you heard that part.
Yeah, actually saw the video this morning. Bubba Ray mentioned, what was it? He pointed out that Damian Priest kind of did that finger wave,
Where he
trying
was, doing the finger
trying
thing.
to see if he had fit. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a miscue from production. I think they were waiting for McIntyre's music to hit, and it just didn't happen on time. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It happens. Mistakes happen. But that ref came in clutch, man. If he hadn't pulled out, regardless of the shoulder going up, that would have forced him to rearrange that whole segment. But at the end result, Drew was meant to cash in and lose regardless of who won between Priest and Rollins.
You do a fantastic job. You and Brandon do a fantastic job on the spaces, and I enjoy listening to them, and I'm hopefully going to be able to talk into one of them here pretty soon. But I love what you guys do, and now that I've got you on the line, I want to talk to you about something because I've become more and more of a fan of Gunther, and when he went from the dad bod to the rad bod now, I mean he's built like a concrete, shout out to MCS General Contracting, a concrete specimen there. Do you feel that they're going to start pushing Gunther that much more? Because honestly, just me looking at it, he commands the ring like nobody right now. That's just my opinion. But what do you think about that?
No, for sure. Like back in NXT, he was Big Boy Walter, right? And look at the specimen he's become now. He dominates in the ring. He dominates on the mic. If you go back to my tweets from WrestleMania last year, I've been pushing for Gunther to get that World Heavyweight Championship since then, and I think they're finally going to pull the trigger on SummerSlam. I mean, he was the longest reigning Intercontinental champ, and he did it in dominant fashion.
Yeah.
So imagine what he's going to do when they put that World Heavyweight Championship on him.
Man, that's going to be. I'm going to actually say that I think I will enjoy WWE more now if they give Gunther that reign and he holds on for it for a long while. We're talking, what are some of the longest reigns that we've seen? Like what? Roman Reigns is one of them. How long was Cena? Did Cena have a long run as a title holder?
He had multiple stints with him, but he wouldn't really hold him long term because he was actually like a fighting champion, right?
Yeah.
He held a lot of like open challenges. Like you would show up to let's say like a wrestling event in San Antonio or Corpus.
Yeah.
And if Cena was on the card and he was champion, then more than likely you were watching a championship fight that night.
Yeah. I remember
It's not like Roman Reigns, who, although he's the GOAT in my opinion, he was defending that title like once every 2 months. And it just, I don't know. I feel like that record deserves an asterisk, kind of like LeBron's Laker championship,
I hear you, man. I hear you. It's funny because I was going to bring up another topic here in a little bit. Probably when we end the call, we'll get into the topic. And again, if you want to call back after the topic is out now, just let me know. But yeah, I want to see this Gunther push. That's the one thing that I have circled is Chris Gonzalez saying Gunther is the king, is the general, basically. And I love the fact that he got into shape and he came back and it was like, holy cow. Like, this is the guy that I think needs to lead WWE here on out. Now, when Roman comes back, I have no idea what they're going to do with him. I think they're going to, personally, I think you've got the new bloodline, which I'm not really impressed with that new bloodline. It didn't really do anything for me in this pay-per-view. But if you've got, Rock coming back and then Roman, I think them two, like the old bloodline against the new bloodline, is probably what we're going to end up seeing. Again, you have more in the know than I do when it comes to wrestling. That's just kind of like speculation for me. But is that something that we may end up seeing later on in the future when Roman and Rock decide to come back?
Yeah, I think that's going to start gaining some steam after SummerSlam. I mean, Let's see. So going back to Money in the Bank, Solo Sikoa is the one who got the pin over Cody Rhodes. He essentially did something that Roman Reigns couldn't do. Because let's not forget, The Rock got the pin on night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And of course, Roman took the L to Cody Rhodes the following night. Shout out the tribal chief. Shout out the tribal chief, but it is what it is.
Shout out the tribal chief. Yeah, go for it, man.
But yeah, no, since Solo Sikoa got the dub over Cody Rhodes, he could kind of hold that over Roman Reigns. I think this past SmackDown, he said that Roman wasn't coming back, and he's throwing it out there that he's the new tribal chief, like he's the main guy. But no, he's just a placeholder, in my opinion. Then he took out their wise man, Paul Heyman. That's Roman Reigns' boy. That's Roman Reigns' boy. They're gonna come back, and I don't know. They got to destroy Solo and his little goons, but I just can't take them serious, man. He would come out barefoot in basketball shorts. Now he's fully tuxedoed up and rocking that fake gold chain, try to look menacing. He just doesn't do it for me. Like Jacob Fatu debuted 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now that's an enforcer. When you think of Samoan bulldozers, shout out to Umaga, rest in peace. Jacob Fatu's like next in line. Like he's perfect. Not to sound weird, but he's a perfect Samoan specimen.
I enjoyed watching him fight, though. I kind of felt like maybe. See, I think with Jacob, I don't know if it was. Again, stop me if I'm wrong here, because I'm trying to get used to it here. But I don't know if it was an oversell on his part in this past pay-per-view. Like, I know he's the enforcer. I know he's going to be the tough out when it comes to wrestling, and all that. But I just felt like it was kind of him overselling a little bit, not really, I guess when Randy brought him, gave him the I don't know what you call it, the move that Randy Orton gave him between the ropes, the DDT. Didn't really kind of sell it. I don't know if that was just kind of okay, I didn't sell it, or you're not supposed to sell it, but it just seemed like he was overdoing it this pay-per-view. I don't know. Again, I may not be making much sense, but that's how I felt with Fatu. And that's where I'm thinking, okay, they're going to probably push him a whole lot more than people are expecting. But again, this bloodline is just kind of like, for me right now. I wasn't too impressed with it. That's just my 2 cents right there.
Yeah, so that spot that you're talking about was after Randy hit him with his signature dangling DDT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really have a name for it. They just call it signature Randy or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought he no-selled it, but I went back and watched the replay, he kind of pops up and he shakes it off. So it's like, oh, I guess it's kind of meant to kind of push him, make him seem like
he's a tough out.
Yeah, like he's a tough out, more menacing. Like, oh shoot, Randy hit him with his best and it didn't affect him at all. And that's kind of the vibe I got from him. Yeah. He was MVP in my opinion for that whole match. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Solo Sikoa. Even beforehand, I just feel like he's real bad at selling. His mic skills aren't all that. But Jacob Fatu is the truth. Even setting up for his debut, he went ahead and he dropped 35 pounds or so, is what I heard, to get into the shape that he is now.
Wow!
And he was actually backstage, I believe, at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
But they were afraid of that if he would debut before his actual debut date, right?
Yeah.
Like he would take all the steam off of Solo Sikoa. Just overall, he's that aura that he attracts. The crowd, that pop was crazy. He's like, now that they're trying to lead Solo to be, Mr. Tough Guy taking everyone out. It's like he couldn't do or get the pop that Jacob got in those 4 minutes of that one SmackDown where he debuted. So I don't know. Let's see where that goes. But you could expect a Bloodline versus New Bloodline match anytime after SummerSlam. That's what Brandon and I predicted. So we've been pretty on par with our predictions.
There you go.
Thankfully, because then people are just tuning into a space from one guy who's knowledgeable and Sith is just talking out of the air.
No, man. Like I said, overall, you and Brandon doing a fantastic job on the spaces. Keep it up. I enjoy listening to it. So if anyone out there wants to listen to some spaces after Monday Night Raw, after pay-per-views, after Friday Night SmackDown, definitely listen to Brandon and Sith out there and on X or the Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it. Just go to their spaces. They do a tremendous job. I appreciate the phone call, man. We're going to go to a commercial break here. But again, appreciate the phone call. And again, call in if you want to call in later on today. We're going to get into more talk. And actually, FYI, we may make this a show weekly here because it seems like it's generated a lot of popularity very, very quick. So just be on the lookout for it, Seth.
Yes, sir. Wrestling's at its peak right now, cinema.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to say, thank you for letting me get on this. We just dropped a promo for our next spaces. We'll be hosting it Friday, 10 minutes after SmackDown. That gives us a little leeway to get everything prepared for the show. And, just want to give you a shout out. You've been killing it. Everyone has swept the league. And shout out to being an honorary USOA member, Rudy.
I appreciate it. I love being a USOA member. Gio gives me a lot of crap because he isn't. But you know what? You gotta be good to be in the USOA. You gotta be a bad boy, and that's what I am. And Gio's not. So we're gonna leave it at that. What's that?
When Gio stops showing fear towards you, I'll let him in. All right. All righty, bro. I'll let y'all do your thing. I'll be in the chat though.
Appreciate the phone call, Sid. That is Sid Elias over there for the X Spaces. They do, him and Brandon Medina do a fantastic job hosting those spaces after Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown and every pay-per-view that WWE has. So definitely check out Sith and Brandon Medina out there. Again, do you guys want to call in? We're going to give you the callback number here after the commercial break here. It's going to be after commercial break. We'll give you the call-in number. You guys want to call in, drop a comment. Let me know about some wrestling stuff. We're talking all wrestling tonight. And like I told Sith, maybe it'll be a weekly show. Maybe it'll be an every other week type of show. It'll be something here. We'll talk about wrestling because there's so many topics to talk about in wrestling. It could definitely be a weekly segment or possible show here on Sweep the League. But for right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Shout out to MCS General Contracting. Shout out to La Cocina Taco Truck and also Special Leave Tea, all sponsors of Sweep the League. Again, we'll be right back, guys. Can you imagine a world where nature meets wellness, where every sip you take nourishes your body and soul? Introducing Special Leaf Tea, a line of 100% natural, ready-to-drink iced teas crafted to boost your immunity and energy. With 4 unique flavors to choose from, as in hibiscus blueberry, tangerine ginger, pomegranate blueberry, or the original, you can indulge in the perfect blend of taste and nutrition. Their teas are carefully crafted with 2 times the antioxidants and no added sugar. They're known to help with blood pressure, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, weight management, and even provide natural energy without caffeine. Join the movement towards natural wellness. Order now at www.specialleaf.com and start sipping your way to a healthier, happier you. Special Leaf Tea. Nature in every sip. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Shemaya, you did it.
Wemby, the king is crowned. Wemby, king is crowned. Future of the league, and he's wearing a crown. We playing justice, playing checkers, no contest. Wemby's got the game on lock, and he's making a statement. I'm talking about Wemby, the next in line. Future of the league.
That is our college football 25 giveaway, guys. I made an announcement earlier. We've got more people in the chat right now, so I'm just going to drop it again. We're at 131 subscribers on Sweep the League TV. Again, it's at YouTube. Go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV, subscribe. So we're at 131. Everybody gets an entry into the college football 25 giveaway. It's 1 copy. But if we get to 200 subscribers by the time we draw, which is July 19th, 10 days from now, everyone's going to get 2 entries into the drawing for a copy of College Football 25. If we so happen to get to 300 subscribers, everybody gets 3 entries into the College Football 25. Again, we're going to do this for every single giveaway that we do, whether it be for Madden, whether it be for the new WWE 2K game that'll be coming out. Any game that we give away, any prize, big prize that we give away, the more subscribers we have, the more entries that you get. So share the channel, get your friends, get your family, create an account for the pets. Who cares? Get everybody to subscribe on our YouTube page. It's at Sweep the League TV on YouTube. Subscribe. The more subscribers, the more entries you get for just being a part of Sweep the League here for Coach Gio, Derek Irvin, and myself. Shout out to MCS General Contracting. Shout out to Special Leave Tea and also to La Cocina Taco Truck. This next segment of Wrestling Talk is brought to you by La Cocina Taco Truck, MCS General Contracting, and Special Leave Tea. All 3 great sponsors of Sweep the League. So again, that was the college football breakdown right there for you for the giveaway. Also, iTunes, hit up Wemby's song. Just search Rudy Campos Jr. That song's on iTunes now. It's on Spotify. It's getting played just about everywhere. So we've got the analytics to back it up. And again, we're doing stuff here at Sweep the League that nobody else is doing. If they are, they're lying to you. So just throwing it out there because I have gotten a little bit of crap lately from some people. But that's for a whole different show. We're not doing any kayfabe here or anything like that. This is all wrestling talk right here. So just got off the phone with Sith, and I've seen where is Adam Cole. He's a stud. Adam Cole definitely is a stud. I've got major respect for Adam Cole. I do like Adam Cole as a wrestler. It's Adam Cole, baby. I've got major respect for him. There's a lot of wrestlers in the new modern era that I actually like, do like them out there. But we were talking WCW, WWE/WWF from back then. Another promotion. This isn't my favorite promotion. It was one of my favorite promotions, but not the favorite one. We're getting into the last segment for my favorite promotion here. But ECW, the introduction to extreme wrestling. You know, I remember watching my very first ECW pay-per-view, and I mean, you had the likes of Taz, obviously. You've had the likes of Rob Van Dam and Sabu. They were like a tag team. I can't remember the manager's name. Bill as Alfonso, or I can't remember his name. The damn whistle would piss me off all the time. But not only that, I mean, like I said, Taz, you had the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, the Dudley Boys. The ECW in its own, with Paulie, it was a great thing. They all worked basically like local indie guys. I mean, they did all the behind the scenes work. Everybody chipped in. They had that documentary about ECW. I loved watching that. Shane Douglas was a part of it. Mikey Whipwreck. I remember Mikey Whipwreck. Apparently Mikey was the innovator, the guy that really brought up technically the quote unquote Stone Cold Stunner into fame. I think it was called the Whippersnapper is what it was for Mikey Whipwreck. So yeah, ECW. Jerry Lynn was another guy that I used to watch in ECW. I think ECW, it basically, New Jack was the man. I remember New Jack as well. You had Balls, it was a Balls Mahoney, Bill Alfonso. Thank you, Bill Alfonso, Chris. Balls Mahoney, it just, you had a lot of guys there. But I was going back to ECW. It was the first introduction to, like it said, extreme wrestling. I remember was it in Philadelphia where they started throwing all the metal chairs into the ring. You've had the iconic moments in ECW where Bam Bam Bigelow fought Taz and fell right through the ring. Roadkill and Danny Dory. FBI, the full-blooded Italians, is another one that was in ECW. We're just naming a lot of people off here at ECW. But I mean, ECW for me, it always had those iconic moments. I mean, I remember, obviously New Jack with the staple gun. I mean, what other iconic moments in ECW? Taz suplexing Sabu through the table, giving him a Tazplex to the table. I mean, just Rob Van Dam, just jumping into the crowd. It was like ECW was like the ooh and the ah for me. And I loved every single bit of ECW. So what are the iconic ECW moments that you have? We're gonna, like I said, we got another segment after this, but we're gonna drop that phone number now. If you want to call in, give us some ECW talk. You know, you want to make a quick comment, drop a quick comment on the phone call, give us a call, say, hey, you know, this is an iconic moment. I love this, I love that about ECW. You know, call us in 830-499-1852. We'll take some phone calls right now before we go to the next commercial break. 830-499-1852. Is there an iconic moment? I mean, for me, WCW's most iconic moment had to be Bash at the Beach, where Hogan turned. That basically catapulted WCW with the NWO thing. Sandman getting crucified. I remember the crucified part. Was that through Raven? If I'm not mistaken, was that through Raven? Because I thought that was through with Tommy Dreamer. I remember Sandman. Okay, I remember the Sandman part going there, but I know there was a crucified, but something with Raven in ECW as well. The stripper, I remember the stripper part for ECW. Who doesn't remember that? But even in WWF/WWE, what is the turning point, the iconic moment for each brand? ECW has, you know, I can remember a lot of ECW stuff. I remember bits and pieces of WCW. I mean, to me, the most iconic thing is the NWO. Obviously, when Hogan turned, that was the biggest thing. WWF, I mean, maybe was it the shift to the Attitude Era? So we're talking maybe one of the most iconic WWE, WWF moments is when Steve Austin won King of the Ring. And that's when Austin 316 was born. That could be the turning point, because then that ushered in the Attitude Era. So from there, it launched, you know, DX, Generation X, Degeneration X. I mean, then you had those nights in the stands where you would have girls pulling their top down and all that stuff. So that led to, you know, that part of the Attitude Era. You had The Rock just up and coming through all that era as well. I mean, to me, that was more the dominating factors for WWE at the time. It was always WCW, WWE, always neck and neck, week in and week out. Just an FYI, ECW was not the introduction of Extreme Wrestling. Paul, you wanted to return wrestling from family friendly to what it was. You know, when I say introduction, it was my introduction to Extreme. I probably didn't mean that, but my introduction to Extreme Wrestling was basically ECW, and that's what kind of catapulted me to, you know, the Japan wrestling, you know, and all that, because of the death matches they would have. I believe John mentioned Scott Hall invading in WCW. That was iconic, because without Scott Hall invading and then bringing in Kevin Nash to be along with him as the outsiders, and then having Hogan turn, that catapults WCW into that top tier brand. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I always watched WCW. You know, when you had Harlem Heat, you know, it was the Great American Bash. You had Starrcade. You had a lot of stuff. And, you know, a lot of these, like Starrcade, I believe, was free on TBS for a long time there. You could watch it. I mean, they were always good matches. I loved WCW back then, but it wasn't quite where WWF, WWE at the time was. I always had them just up above everybody else. So once, and again, the introduction of the Crow Sting, yeah, but that happened because of the NWO, because of the invasion of Scott Hall. And then you had Kevin Nash, and then you had Hogan. Once all those pieces fell, then you started to see the Crow, you know, Crow Sting coming out. And then you started seeing Goldberg with the undefeated streak, and then beating Hogan for the title on Monday Night Nitro. So that's where it starts catapulting everybody. But then we're going to have to get in next week probably to the downfall of WCW, because some people say it was Vince Russo. Some people just said the talent just sucked. And I mean, there's so many things that you could point the finger at when it came to the fall of WCW. So we can definitely get into some talk like that. Also, another topic I want to get into maybe for next week, if we have another wrestling show, stables, the Four Horsemen. What are the best stables out there? Even, you know, you had the Heenan family. I mean, good God, the Heenan family. I mean, what are you talking? Ravishing Rick Rude, who stole, that was my whole gimmick. He stole it from me. Andre the Giant, Haku, King Kong Bundy was a part of the Heenan family. No, Hercules was part of the Doctor of Style Slick. So, I mean, Mr. Fuji managed a lot of people too. So, we'll get into some stables next week. We'll get into that. And I mean, the Four Horsemen, you can't get any more iconic than them. But we're going to probably rank the stables. We're going to get some of you guys in here for next week as well. But, you know, again, the moments we're going to be posting these throughout the week here. We've got something special lined up for a lot of you listeners out there. We're going to announce it during our social medias to where you guys can be a part of the show. And we're going to give away some stuff for it. We're going to give away some stuff. All you got, it's going to be crazy. We're going to give away some stuff. You're going to be part of the show and you don't even have to be on there live. You're just going to be a part of it. You're probably wondering how. We're going to drop details here pretty soon. But we want to get everybody involved here. So next week we'll probably do another wrestling show, get into some stable talk. Who had the best stables? Who had the best, the best groups, man? Like I said, the Heenan family has always ranked in the top probably two. I mean, for me, it's always been the Horsemen and it's been the Heenan family. I mean, those two have been iconic 1 and 2 for me forever that I know of. So you can also throw in, like you said, the NWO. The Bullet Club is another one that's more recent. I mean, there's a lot of the Dangerous Alliance. Good one, Chris. A really good one there. We're going to get into some stable talk next week. That's going to be fun. So we'll do some stable talk next week. But again, what are those moments that you guys have felt were the turning point? What was the turning point for a lot of these brands? ECW was probably when they launched that first pay-per-view. For me, that was when they launched that first pay-per-view. Everybody got a taste of the extreme because remember, they were based in Philadelphia. So you had to watch the cassette tapes and the VHS. Then they were able to get the pay-per-views out. Then I think that's where it started to turn a lot more. WCW, it's the NWO, the Invasion, the Hogan turn, that catapulted them. WWE, I mean, Hogan's run was great. The Mega Powers was good. The Warrior Hogan in Toronto for WrestleMania, or was it WrestleMania? I think it wasn't WrestleMania or SummerSlam. It was one of the two. I think it was SummerSlam. Hogan and Warrior, it was good. It was okay. But it was never that jaw-dropping moment for me for WWF/E. I mean, before that, it was what? Maybe Hogan body slamming the Giant. I mean, that was the whole talk. I mean, they used to sell the WrestleMania board game with the cassette tape. I had that. On the cover was Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant. That was the biggest moment for WWF/E back in the day. So I would think that's a great turning point for them. That catapulted them a little bit. But for me, it wasn't that iconic moment. I think the iconic moment was when Steve Austin won King of the Ring, and then Austin 316 was born, because then that ushered in the Attitude Era. And then WWE just took off from there. So those are my 3 turning point moments for all 3 brands. That was Austin 316 being born for WWE. WCW was obviously the Invasion, and then Hogan turning, because that led them to a whole nother tier. And ECW was that first pay-per-view. Those were the turning points for me on all 3 brands. So Rudy, did you hear what CP3 told me about message to fans thoughts? Honestly, Jeff, I haven't seen it quite yet. I apologize on that. I'll check it out here in a little bit, and I can make a video for Locked On and everybody out there. I'll listen to it here right after this. I'm sorry, I haven't kind of been busy today. I'm sorry, man, but as far as, like I said, as far as the wrestling goes, those 3 are what's for me. What are your iconic moments? We're going to tweet that out here. We're going to put that on social media. That way you guys can hit us up. And again, we're going to do something special for you guys. We're going to do something special for you guys. Something very easy for you to do, but it's going to allow you to be interactive with us here at Sweep the League. So keep it in mind. I actually have the Austin King of the Ring with the Austin 316 quote on the back. Yeah. I mean, that was the one that ushered everybody in. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we get back, we're going to end the show here. Lockdown Spurs in a nutshell. He said that Suns fans need to excuse him for how he acts on the court. Why? Because he will do anything to get W's. On an NBA note, I agree with that. Chris Paul does anything and everything to win, but San Antonio Spurs fans, just get over it. Get over it. He's a part of the Spurs now. Cheer him on. You know what? He's going to help the team win. Again, everywhere Chris Paul goes, the team wins. They win more games than they did the previous year. He turns the franchise around. Whether it's 10 games, whether it's 8 games, you're going to see an improvement. So, yeah, I agree with Chris Paul on that. Everybody just chill, pump the brakes, relax on Chris Paul being here. Appreciate that, Jeff. Again, I'll probably do a video here after the show to get that out to you as well. But again, we're talking wrestling. Last segment of the night is going to be my favorite brand, which I have yet to mention. We're going to get into that here on Sweep the League. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Yeah, shout out to Coach Gio and Derek Irvin. They should be back here later on this week. They're both off tonight. Again, our giveaway, College Football 25 giveaway is getting big. It's getting really, really big, really interesting. 120 plus subscribers, or actually 106 subscribers. 106 subscribers in the past 30 days. It's amazing. Thank you, everybody out there. If we can get up to 200 subscribers, everybody that is a subscriber will get 2 entries into getting a copy of College Football 25 coming out on the 19th of July. So here in 10 days. So again, go to YouTube, search at Sweep the League TV, be a subscriber today for a chance to win. Really always wanted to wrestle for Glow. The gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Who was the girl that painted her face? The big mama that was there. I believe she had a red curly wig or something. She painted her face, and she was actually on an episode of Married with Children. I do remember that. If I'm not mistaken, she was, but I remember her being on there. Yeah, I remember Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. You can't come on me on that. I know about that stuff there. Nonetheless, this last segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Specialty Tea, and of course, it's Taco Tuesday. So, of course, it's La Cocina Taco Truck. All great sponsors of Sweep the League. We're going to be running their commercials all week on social media as well. So again, show them some love on social media. Hit them up. MCS has they have some hats as well that are available. Harry Austin, who was our 100th subscriber on YouTube, got a free hat for being a subscriber, being the 100th subscriber. So shout out to MCS General Contracting. They've got some great merch out there. So definitely hit them up if for anything, just for the merch as well. But also if you need that contracting, the foundation laid, driveways or anything, hit them up here. This next segment is brought to you by all 3 of our sponsors, Specialty Tea, La Cocina Taco Truck, and MCS General Contracting. So before we end the night, my favorite brand of wrestling was only on for about 3 years. And actually it's like 3 seasons. And that is what you guys probably have heard of or not heard of, but it was Lucha Underground. That's where my love for wrestling fell. It came back. I remember I was sitting at my parents' house at the time. It was on a Sunday, just going through the channels, and I see a wrestling. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. It's in a warehouse. Like, okay, let's sit back and watch. Watching our Prince Puma at the time, which we all know is Ricochet. He was there. He was fighting. I want to say it was I can't remember offhand, but you had King Cuerno was another guy that was there. You had Mr. Seto, Pentagon Jr. was another guy that was on there. Mil Muertes was the big man there as well. You had a lot of guys. Johnny Mundo, who we all know, Johnny Mundo was there now. Alberto El Patron instead of Alberto Del Rio was there. I think Rey Mysterio was on season 2. If I'm not mistaken, one of the announcers was Vampiro. He ended up wrestling Pentagon Jr., which turned out that he was Pentagon Jr.'s like mentor, basically. So that whole storyline was kind of crazy. I had me fooled, but I definitely loved Lucha Underground was my favorite brand, and actually it still is. I wish I could go back, and I actually wish I can go back and watch that. I'll get to that question here in just a minute, Jeff. I'll get to that question here before we leave. But yeah, Lucha Underground, man, I've got a lot of memories in the short time that it was there. Dario Cuerto was there. The women's division, and that was Eva Lise, Sexy Star. They had a pretty decent amount of women there in Lucha Underground. I don't know, man. If you guys watched it out there, what did you guys think of Lucha Underground? And I made a comment to Sith one time, and I said, with Ricochet, I think going to what is it, AEW is what the word on the street is AEW. With him going there, I probably would be a fan of AEW if he came out as Prince Puma. I mean, he's not going to obviously go in as Ricochet, but if he went into AEW as Prince Puma, I think I would not lose my shit, but I would definitely be interested in watching AEW because I love Ricochet. I mean, he's a ring technician, in my opinion. I loved his performances in Lucha Underground. I was excited to see him in WWE, but again, WWE is like so packed with talent. It's hard to push one guy to where you've got, like I said, Lucha Underground, and you could push Puma the entire time. And that's kind of what they did. He was one of their biggest guys there. So I liked it. I mean, that's why Lucha Underground to me was I enjoyed it. Kill Shot was another one that was there. The Mac was there. Oh God, I can't remember his name. Cage, the man they call Cage. He's on AEW, I think, right now. He's there. He was there at the time. So you had a mixture. Conan was there. There was a guy. Oh God, Angelico. He's the guy that jumped off of Dario Cuerto's office onto the mat. That had me jump out of my seat, and I was just floored by what I saw. It was just amazing, Lucha Underground. So if any of you guys have any Lucha Underground memories or stories, definitely save them for next week. We'll bring it up next week when we do more wrestling talk. Really enjoyed everybody here tonight for the wrestling talk. Let me get to Jeff's question real quick before we end up logging off here. I believe it had to do with CP3. So it says, Rudy, does CP3 push the rebuild forward? Like he won't be here for the full rebuild, so why add him? So the whole thing with CP3 on the rebuild is it's kind of like what I said on Locked On Spurs today and in the past episode of Locked On Spurs, and kind of what I've been saying on Sweep the League. It's not so much that he's a part of the rebuild. It's a person or a player that's going to come in to help the young guys develop. The rebuild is here. They're taking steps forward. They needed a point guard. And what I really feel with Chris Paul, Jeff, is he actually may be here going into next year. I think what they're going to do is try to see, okay, what are we doing in 2025, 2026? We have some great draft picks. We're able to sign a couple of free agents, some big name free agents that may have Chris Paul come back. But more than anything, he's brought in to show this team how to win. Because again, last season, in winning time, Jeff, we saw a lot of their wins kind of fade away because they had a lot of turnovers. They couldn't, Trey Jones is a point guard, he's a good point guard, but they had a ton of turnovers. They didn't have a guy that could be there, keep the game under control, play calm and cool, make the correct play, not just the correct pass, but the correct play. Get players in the right position. And that's kind of reason why Chris did, like you mentioned earlier, saying that, you got to kind of excuse of the way he is on the court and how tough he is. You've got to excuse all that as a Spurs fan. Who cares what he did in the past? He's going to bring that mentality to San Antonio. He's going to make sure the players are in the correct position on the court. He's going to teach them how to win. This team only won 22 games. If you can teach them and get them to win 28, 29 games, that's a positive. It sucks for Spurs fan because you don't want to hear 29 wins and 28 wins. You don't want to hear 30, 31 wins. You want to hear 45, 50 wins. It's not going to happen. Not with Chris Paul. But if he can get them to more wins, he can teach them how to win. That's the thing with Chris Paul. He's here to teach them how to win. in those moments where they were up, 7-8 points at the end of the game and they blew the lead, with a guy like Chris Paul, he's going to make sure that they play calm, they play cool, they play comfortable. And those, say 7, 8, 9, 10 games, you're going to probably end up seeing them win, 5 to 6 of those games now, because they have a player that can guide this team, in the fourth quarter. And that's something that they were lacking. So really, yeah, Chris Paul's not here for the rebuild. He's here just to teach. He's a mentor. He's a teacher for this squad. But one thing to keep in mind on a Chris Paul subject here is this. I saw that comment by Sith, great comment. He's like the lesser evil, like Randy Orton. The one thing about Chris Paul that I want everybody, all Spurs fans, to realize is this. He's here for a year, $11 million. But it's a major win/win for the Spurs, because you get a teacher, you get a mentor. That's what they need. This young team needs a definite veteran mentor. They've got that. But the reason why it's another win is because come trade deadline, if the Spurs are just not, which personally, I don't expect them, unless they make another move or two, I don't expect them to be contending for the playoffs, maybe the play-in, maybe come trade deadline. But even at that, I'm not too sure. I'm not buying into it. But when you've got a championship team, and one team that comes to mind is the Milwaukee Bucks. When you've got a team that is fighting to get that playoff spot, that is getting ready for the playoffs and that championship run, who's the first team that a lot of these people are going to call? It's probably going to be the Spurs. Why? Because you've got Chris Paul, who's one of the best point guards to ever play the game, ideally. Plus, he's got an $11 million contract. That fits just about everybody's budget in the NBA, especially contenders. So if they figure, okay, we're not winning, we can trade Chris. Perfect contract. Some of these teams may give us, hey, it's kind of a late pick in the first round, but nonetheless, it's a first round pick. So that's where I'm kind of looking outside of the box here. If the Spurs aren't competing, which, let's be real, majority of us are going to say they're not going to compete this year. They're going to be better. They're not going to compete. But you can possibly move Chris at the deadline to a contender and maybe get a late first for him in 2025. That's why it's a win-win. And if he stays the whole year, he stays the whole year. No big deal. This is a perfect spot for Chris Paul. It's a perfect contract for both Chris Paul and the Spurs. And it's a massive win-win for the San Antonio Spurs. As my thoughts on the Chris Paul thing, who was introduced today along with Harrison Barnes as new members, as new teammates of the San Antonio Spurs. So thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you for dropping that question. But nonetheless, guys, you know what? It was a great night. It was a great night of talking wrestling. Again, the title was like NFL talk, NCAA talk, NBA talk. We got some NBA talk here at the end, and also a little bit of wrestling. This whole show was dedicated to wrestling. You guys made it a great show tonight. Appreciate you joining us. And again, we're probably going to make this, hopefully, maybe if not a weekly show for wrestling, we'll at least do bi-weekly. So we'll get an entire show of wrestling in for some of you guys out there. In fact, a lot of you guys that participated. Got a lot of subjects. We didn't even come close to scratching the surface on wrestling. There's so much more to get into. Conspiracy theories, the plane ride from hell. If you guys haven't seen that, Dark Side of the Ring stuff. I mean, we got a lot we can talk about when it comes to wrestling. So we'll try to make this, if not weekly, like I said, a bi-weekly thing here on Sweep the League. But appreciate everybody for joining us again. We've got some big stuff coming. You thought the music thing was big. We've got even more stuff coming from Sweep the League. So like I said, go to our YouTube page, go to YouTube at Sweep the League, search at Sweep the League TV, subscribe, hit that notification button. So that way you are aware when we are going, and also follow us on Twitter at Sweep the League is me, at Shemaya on the Beats is for Shemaya, and then at Coach Gio with double O at the end. I got to get Shemaya's. I'm sorry. I got to get Shemaya's Twitter as well, but follow us on Twitter because you don't want to miss the social media stuff that we got coming out. where you guys are a part of the show, you're gonna love it. We're gonna give away some stuff for just taking literally 30 seconds maybe out of your day to do something. One of you lucky guys out there are gonna win a prize or something. So definitely appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Sid, appreciate you calling in, man. We got more wrestling talk coming. Like I said, if not weekly, we'll do it every other week, but we're definitely gonna do some more wrestling shows. This was a lot of fun. Enjoyed all you guys for taking the time tonight. Again, Derek and Coach Gio should be back, if not tomorrow, later on this week. Tomorrow night, David Mullins, comedian from San Antonio. He's got a show coming up July 27th, Josephine Theater. We're going to talk to David Mullins tomorrow night. And outside of that, I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. This is Sweep the League. And shout out to MCS General Contracting. Shout out to La Cocina Taco Truck and Special Leaf Tea, as well as Jeff Garcia. Jeff, if you're still on the stream, made an announcement earlier. We're going to work on that commercial for you. You're going to get your very own Sweep the League commercial, man. So definitely shout out to all you guys out there, and shout out to everybody that was in the stream with me tonight. We're 65 strong ending tonight on the live stream. Appreciate you guys again. Don't forget our giveaway. See you guys tomorrow, guys.